You smoked pot with Charlie Manson.
This is a true story. My friend James Jeremiah, I'm still friends with to this day. We went to college together. He lived in Chatsworth. I lived in Northridge. And he said, I want to visit my friend Dave. He lives in this tree house now, and he's doing this incredible art. So we went to his place, and he did indeed live in a tree house next door to a saloon. And so we went and visited him up in the tree house. He did this beautiful art. He was on speed at some point. He did this crazy art. And we were out of dope, so he said, well, let's walk up to the main house and smoke a joint. I think they have some pot up there. We did. There was a bunch of hippies, nothing really noteworthy. One of them recognized my name, my father's name, said, oh, your dad's in the business, I know. Can you help me? He had some songs or something you want people to hear. But I didn't know a lot of music people then, so we left, went back to the car. I probably should have mentioned the treehouse was next door to not a real saloon, but a fake saloon at a movie set street called the Spahn Ranch. If that name rings a bell, well, you're too young for it to ring a bell, but it does with Howie. That was.
Do you know what the Spahn Ranch was?
No.
Do you know? Does anybody back there, Jeremy? What is the Spahn Ranch?
Yeah, it was Charles Manson's headquarters, right?
Yeah, they squatted there, right? Didn't
they did. They squatted there. They kind of enticed and drugged the guy. I can't remember the name of the old guy that kind of ran the place. He was a caretaker for the Spahn Ranch, but they basically kept him a hostage. And a year later, then we discovered who we smoked a joint with because there are pictures from the paper. Wait a minute, that's the guy that had the music. That was Charlie. And there's Tex Watson, there's Linda, and there's, Kasabian.
Well, I know because I watched, what's the most recent movie that came out that was about that? Not Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, Hollywood.
They did a pretty good job of capturing the essence. I don't know if they shot at the Spahn Ranch.
Which movie? Was that Tarantino's movie?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Is that what it was called? Yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And they showed the ranch, so I'm assuming it looked
knowing Quentin
similar?
Tarantino, they must have gotten to the real ranch or recreated it at that site.
Yeah.
But it's, it was definitely all those people. They were in the newspaper, and I had a pretty good memory at that point. When these are the same people. We definitely I called my friend James. Am I missing something? He said, no, this is the gang we smoked a joint with.
So from the time you smoked the joint, and did Charlie play his music for you?
He did not. If he did, I didn't. It was so unnoteworthy, I didn't remember it.
Or you were so high.
That's true too. Howie, is it?
There's nothing that stood out about. There's nothing that stood out about that moment. Like when you were there, you didn't feel creeped out or thought it was weird.
It was creepy. It was very creepy, and I didn't know why. I thought it was just bad pot.
Yeah.
Really? Years later, I smoked pot up at this house in Bel Air, and I thought this place is creepy. It was a place where the Tate LaBianca, the Tate murders. Jay Sebring and Sharon Tate were murdered. Because finally, this guy said, well, yeah, I'm Rudy Altobelli. We haven't met before. We're playing cards. I went, oh, my God, this is the house. I confirmed later with the address that was the house.
Wait, so you smoked pot with the
Charles
mastermind
Manson,
and the girl who was charged with the Squeaky and what's her name?
Squeaky Frome. I don't know if she was there at that point. I think she came in later.
Tex Watson was there, right?
I believe so. The guy I believe to be Tex Watson. When we saw the pictures a year later, it looked like all the same people.
So you not only smoked pot with the people planning to do the murders, you smoked pot at the place the murders took place.
I don't know. I didn't know. This was the 80s, so I wasn't smoking pot at that time, but I was playing poker in this house, and I discovered it was Rudy Altobelli's house, and I believe he was the owner of the house. He did not live there. He rented it out. He was the owner of the house where it occurred, I'm pretty sure.
I think.
Didn't you go back to that?
I think Jeff Franklin, Bob Saget's memorial was at Jeff Franklin's house. And Jeff Franklin, who's the creator of Full House. Do you know Jeff?
I've met him, I think, through Bob. I love Bob. What a great guy he was.
Yeah, we'll miss him. But he that's the house. He bought that. Where is that? That's up at the...
It's up Bel Air. If I saw the name of the street, I'd remember it.
He bought that house, and we were in the house.
You told me, yeah.
Yeah, and I went there with John Stamos, and John Stamos said that him and...
Who would buy that house?
Jeff Franklin.
Yeah.
Well, he knocked down the house, but it's got an amazing view.
It's good that they knocked it down. It had a weird vibe. Somebody look up, if you can, Rudy Altobelli. I don't know how you spell that. See if he was indeed the owner of the house.
Cielo Drive. Do you remember
That's
that?
it.
It's definitely Cielo Drive.
That's
definitely.
it.
And I definitely played poker at a house on a very short street. It's not a long street at all, Cielo Drive. I played poker there. So I was.
So
told
you were in the actual house.
I was in the actual house.
Later on, this is like very disconnected from the time you smoked pot with Charlie Manson and
years
everyone.
later, from '69, I smoked pot with him in 68. It
You
all
get
came to
around.
light in August, I think, of 69. Yeah, I've been in some weird places. It's not me, is it? I'm not causing these things to happen, am I?